to the gold water.
This is nothing to declare.
Nothing to declare. Oh my God, I always think about going in the immigration.
Yeah,
Nothing to declare.
That's where
Nothing to declare.
I got the idea for the show. We don't want to, you know, nothing to declare.
Oh my God.
You know,
my first time in the airport is,
yeah.
I can't forget that. And it's with him. I really can't forget that. But anyway, you guys, what do you think about this hat?
I don't know.
I would want to share how I feel wearing this hat. I don't know.
It's a lot safer to wear it here than
here,
some
it's
places
safe.
in the U.S.
You're fine.
I'm fine. It's just the hat is a little bit
I didn't
heavy.
bring my. I didn't know we were
Heavy,
gonna
and it's making my head looks bigger.
Oh, that's what she's concerned about.
Yeah.
Not about getting.
Not about the statement
pummeled
on
and
it.
dragged through the street.
Like me, you were born with a tan, but that won't protect you from being called a racist by effing white people.
Yeah.
White people love to call people racist, even if they're the white person in the conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you really shouldn't do that because, people of color. Excuse me?
The bald girl saying you're hurting my emotions.
Oh no,
and
I saw
the
that.
guy says
the crazy lady with the
it will
logic
go
talking
away,
about
right? It will change.
No, see, you gotta trust fear over facts or something like that. Oh my gosh, that seemed like I wanted to believe that was a setup just to make, but then I realized how many freaking flaky people I've met who are that chick and sound like that chick and say stupid stuff like that chick.
Yeah.
So even if that particular case was a setup, for every setup, there's 5 that are really like that.
or maybe if you're anxious, just tell people, hey, I'm anxious. Respect.
Right,
Don't
yeah. That's funny, because the guy was black, wasn't he?
No, he's white, I guess.
No, was he? Yeah, I was thinking,
He's white too.
He looked like he could have been like half Mexican or something, I don't know. But
But
yeah.
I feel like that conversation is the conversation of the year for me. Because it's just so what? I'm like, what did she say?
Well, did you see Tom Brokaw got hit?
Oh, I saw him where he made the mistake of saying
it was common sense
exactly
what he was saying. I mean,
literal
it was just
common
like, hey,
sense.
listen, I think
maybe bring in too many people, and then we won't have enough for anybody.
That's true.
In the classic Brokaw voice.
Okay, I'm gonna remove this because it's hurting my head, but we can put it here.
But you have this, like, what he said was just like,
and I can see.
And Tom Brokaw is. He's by no means a Republican or even a libertarian. I mean, he's
somewhere in between Rush Limbaugh and Richard Spencer. No, he's
right.
He's a former television journalist for a major network, which means he leans left.
He was a major anchor, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, but Brokaw, what he was saying was, like, it was refreshing. I'm like, go Tom.
Right.
I saw it right when it came out, and then I thought, oh no, this poor guy's gonna get crucified for this.
It's like he didn't realize that Tom. Nobody gave him the memo. He hasn't been in the news for a while. Nobody told him, listen, whatever you do, stay away from obvious facts that could hurt somebody's feelings.
Right.
Years ago, we've had Bill Clinton, Obama, Schumer, and Pelosi have all spoken out in favor of a border wall. Have you seen the video? It was a good one, where it was, on a college campus, and these folks, what they did was they took quotes from Bill Clinton, Obama, Hillary Clinton, Schumer, and Pelosi about building a wall. Then they would be like, so Trump said this, and what do you think of? Oh, well, I think that's racist and xenophobic. Okay, well, here's the thing. Actually, that was Nancy Pelosi.
Right.
Now how do you feel?
Dice did that.
Oh, whoops. Was that it?
Yeah, it was Dice, and then Campus Reform also did something
I think it was,
pretty much like that.
Oh, my God.
But, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, what Brokaw was saying was, the thing that I thought, wow, this is refreshing, this is great, is, so maybe they should take certainly make more of an effort to speak English.
Right, yeah.
Okay, and then somebody came back.
Shouldn't be a radical idea.
Somebody came back on this. I was reading the comments as this was erupting. And somebody came back and said the Spanish language has always been part of the American government. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. You're talking about 1776. When was the obvious
Next, you're going to tell me Jefferson didn't warn us about Sharia law. He did, by the way.
The obvious response to that is, and you could probably find it somewhere. I mean, it might take a little digging, but when is the first translation of the Constitution of the United States, or the amendments, or the Bill of Rights, 1776?
Yeah.
But when is the first time that it's translated and printed in Spanish and distributed to people in the United States? If the Spanish language was part of the United States, I'm guessing.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you, I bet you it's not until the 1940s.
At least, yeah. Possibly as late as the 50s or 60s, or
when they started printing textbooks in Spanish. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, this argument of, my Lord.
Look at this black guy with his KKK hood on.
Yeah.
No, see, because what was Alyssa Milano says it's the new hood and robes of the KKK.
Wow.
Well, how do you explain all these minorities who are fed up with with the Democrat plantation, as folks like Candace, what's her last name? The chick, she goes by Red Pill Black. Candace.
They can make their own hats.
Right? But
they can make their own hats.
Right,
yeah, sure.
Right.
Good
point.
Make your own.
They had the pussy hats.
Yeah.
We didn't. Conservatives and libertarians and people who didn't support liberals and leftists didn't beat up people for wearing pussy hats. How many stories of one of my favorites? Not that I like what happened,
they can say, "I'm not happy with my president."
It's so illustrative. Remember when there was the Mexican guy and his teenage son were beat up by a bunch of primarily white Antifa? They had MAGA hats and shirts that said Hispanics for Trump. And dude, they wouldn't have had to have the Hispanics for Trump shirt. They were obviously Hispanics. Mm-hmm. But they're racist. So a bunch of white people mobbed and basically came next to lynching people of color for thinking the wrong way.
Yeah.
I'm tired of hearing anybody who's a minority get called an Uncle Tom, or being patronized and told how, you're voting against your best interest. Oh, I'm sorry, white massa. I'm sorry, I didn't know. I will defer to you better judgment. I mean, like, really? That's the mindset of these educated white liberals.
Well, it's the arrogance is also what really bothers me. Is who put them in charge of deciding all of this? I mean, first of all, you shouldn't be doing it. But taking a look at it, if you're taking this authority and just pointing out everything that's wrong with everyone else, right? Who elected you to do that? I mean, you weren't elected. You're self-appointed, and you're part of a movement, right? And it's a constantly changing movement. And all you have to do is, when you get cornered, just point back to anyone that's threatening you, and somebody that might, you're normalizing something, and then you have to use that vocabulary.
Right.
You're normalizing Nazism. You're normalizing
and you better not
xenophobia.
and don't point out inconsistencies in their way of thought, because that's whataboutism.
Yeah.
That's another one of my favorites of the terms. Like there's a selected group of terms that they all use. That's why the NPC meme was so spot on.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is what we call things.
Mm-hmm.
And whataboutism is my least favorite, because you point out, but see, you guys are saying this is bad, but you did this. That's whataboutism. No, it's pointing out your inconsistencies.
Yeah.
No. It's whataboutism when you do it. They can do it all day long.
Yeah.
But when we do it, it's just like calling someone an NPC is demeaning and dehumanizing. But it's totally fine to call someone a Russian bot for 2 years.
Right.
That's it's only demeaning and dehumanizing when the right side does it. By which I mean, yeah.
Well, and I told you, I think I told you guys this when I was in San Francisco with, I think it was Twitter Night Out or something.
Oh. Yeah, I think I've heard. Like, I remember that.
Yeah, and they, they're right on basically between 6th and 7th on Market, and that's 4 blocks up from my apartment. But those 4 blocks is a Tenderloin. You're going straight through the Tenderloin to Soma. It's not a huge area, so it's only 4 blocks, but it's really bad, really, really bad. And then you get up towards Union Square, and everything kind of mellows out because people aren't raping and stealing and shitting on the sidewalk.
But then they're
excuse the language, but it's you're waiting to you're just in that neighborhood and you're crossing. Waiting for the light, and you're at these crosswalks, and you're hearing these conversations about Zombieland, and we're in Zombieland, and and so that's what they call all the blacks that are wandering around that they've given free needles to, and they're encouraging the police not to do anything about heroin or fentanyl,
all that
or crack
safe injection
or any
site
of
crap.
it. It's not a site, safe injection site. People are shooting everywhere, everywhere.
Really?
I mean,
I can't
it's
really
a war zone.
imagine that this place is existing in America.
It's a war zone. Oh, it is. I mean, it's disgusting. And then the Hilton's a block away.
It's the new Margaret Sanger movement.
I mean, from the front of my building, the Hilton is a block away. I mean, I could use a pitching wedge right there. I mean, and yet this is where we keep these people, and isn't it cute? It's Zombieland, and there are people that are getting picked up off the street every morning. Usually, they sweep through with vans and they pick up the dead bodies off the street, and that's Zombieland, and that's what they're doing. That's
what they call the place.
Now, is that dehumanizing? Because they're viewing blacks that are drug addicted, who have serious mental and addictive problems. They're calling them something like not human. They're saying they're already dead,
right?
And they're walking dead. And these are the same people that accuse us of dehumanizing and ban our accounts of dehumanizing, and yet these twits that are wandering around making $300-400 a year are kind of isn't it cute that we have a poop program where we can geolocate snap crap. I mean, it's ridiculous, the whole point of it. And if you're not in their group, then I guess you just you can see it. But if you're in it, either there's so much self-denial, or it's so comfortable being inside there because your job is secure. You're part of that group,
right?
You don't have to think. You're always right, and you can tell people what to do. So that's a pretty good thing.
So you went to the Twitter, what do you call that? Twitter station, or?
So Twitter's headquarters. Their world headquarters is between 6th and 7th on Market. I walk by there all the time.
Which was the George Romero movie, Land of the, or something of the Dead, the one where they're in the giant mall? It had Dennis Hopper and John Leguizamo. That's what I think of, honestly, because they're in this big protected little area that's surrounded by zombies. Yeah.
Oh,
I can't remember which one, but yeah, it was Dennis Hopper is in this big mall, and only the protected class are in the mall, and there's the one guy, John Leguizamo's character, makes deliveries and is trying to worm his way in, because once you're in the mall, you're safe. It's a mall, it's closed off, you don't have to look behind
you. I don't feel safe when I'm in the mall.
Yeah.
I don't feel safe because I feel like I'm gonna spend a lot of money.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a different problem there.
I don't feel safe.
Okay.
I need to get out of it. Okay.
I get that feeling sometimes.
Well,
yeah.
I
feel really like this weekend I bought a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel guilty about it.
I have
I should not bring money when I go out and just lurk.
Well, maybe we can. I don't know. This is kind of messed up here, but we'll have to do this. We'll you know what? We still need to do our best of the meme thing.
Oh,
that was always good. but I've got a whole batch of them.
Oh yeah.
So I'll write that up here in a bit. But here's one. The first one we were going to send it over, but I'm having issues sending it. There's the first image is a woman going through security, the full body scan at the airport, and it says, so you have to do this to get on a plane. And then the second image is, and coming into our country, and it's a picture of all the Hondurans, a mob of Hondurans just, coming through.
Share it to them.
Citizens. I'm trying to.
Speaking of migrants,
we'll do an article on the best of memes. We're kind of overdue for that.
So speaking of migrants, like tons of sick migrants are like flooding in the border, and the border patrol are spending too much time, I don't know, attending to them instead of doing the important job of
the security part of the job.
No, they need to euthanize them is what they need to do. Okay.
It's like they were talking about people getting killed, you're dying because of the mistreatment. Dude, you don't die of dehydration in a day.
Really?
No. It takes
like 3 days.
It takes days. Exactly.
I feel like if I didn't drink water.
So if a little girl, one of them was a little girl, and it's a tragedy when a kid dies. But whose fault is it if she was in there for like X amount of hours? It was less than a day. That means her parents dragged her across. Her parents or traffickers, whoever it was, dragged her across the desert without giving her water.
Yes.
And they didn't die.
Yeah.
They didn't die?
No.
Why didn't they die?
And I mean, her parents didn't have access to a medevac helicopter, which was used in her case.
Yeah.
To get her to trauma unit.
They can send them like the thing that they're using in the movie Hunger Games. When they're like really ill and they need just a specific medicine to help them. I don't know.
Yeah, the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
I've not seen that one.
Seen any of that?
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
It's just an imagination. Don't take it seriously. I'm not.
I don't know. Do the Hunger Games on the border. We're open to everything.
After learning the seeing that it was the Democrats who voted down, should we pay the government workers who are working but not able to get paid because of the shutdown?
Yeah.
Republicans wanted to pass that so that they could continue to keep the shutdown going.
Yeah.
They were 6 Democrats short of passing it. Because without people dying at the border and not being able to feed their families, then the Democrats have lost their talking point.
Yeah.
And true. So like that is pure evil. It
is. Like there's something really bad about that.
I'm not a Republican.
They're trying to do it on both sides.
Exactly.
And they're saying, "Oh well, it's your president's
where you stand
fault."
With Republicans,
yeah.
I would rather, okay, don't pretend to care about the environment for money. Just don't care about the environment. It's so much better that way. Pretending to care about the environment for purposes of business, the whole green energy.
Yeah.
It's a second. It's like, Republicans are bad enough in a lot of ways, and I disagree with this, and this. But at least they're not pretending to be something they're not.
Yeah.
Well,
like, Mr. Rowe had we were on the story behind the story on Saturday, Friday night for you all, and Mr. Rowe hopped on and we had a kind of an interesting conversation. He had brought up a good idea that. He said, well, why don't we build kind of a transition city.
Yeah.
A transition city on the border, so you can come in there, but you can't leave there. And you can learn English, and you can get a job, and have any number of industries. And I suggested, well, hey, can foreigners go in there and do business? Because, I mean, hey, you got prostitution and gambling. I mean, all sorts of fun stuff. I mean, because that's life. It's part of life. So, but he was talking about having these transition cities, which I think we should try everything.
Yeah.
And see what happens there. I mean, you definitely don't want people from Honduras in charge there, but it's a good experiment to see, hey, because if you commit a crime there, they're isolated, and you can tag them and track them. I mean, if you want to do social credit score, do it there.
Migrants are from Venezuela, right? Venezuela,
No,
Honduras.
migrants right now, Venezuelans are running south into Brazil because you can't walk from the Darien is the area where in Panama where it's
the Durians. Did you say?
Darien?
Oh,
that's
the fruit.
It's an area of Panama where it's just notoriously impossible to cross. I mean, people have trouble with motorcycles going through there. And then, of course, you got to cross over Bridge of Americas or somewhere up near Cologne. But you have the canal going there, so there's a natural barrier. But and Panama doesn't want people coming up.
Cologne's where the Columbus statue is?
Well, there's probably a lot of statues. I mean, Columbus. Cologne is notorious as known as being, well, that's the Caribbean side of the canal. You've got Panama City on one side, on the Pacific, and then you have Cologne on the other after you go through the lake. And so it's relatively, I mean, you can fly from one side to the other pretty quickly. And but Cologne is notorious for really, I mean, it was a pretty bad place to be. And then, well, that's pretty much where they shipped all of the people that got dengue and malaria, and then
no, they want them to be isolated.
Really, like the really shifty people that ended up in Panama during the construction, or before and during and after the construction of the canal, kind of ended up in Cologne because it was kind of like a jungle Wild West. And it's still pretty dirty. I know some expatriates that live there and love it, but there's a difference there because they've got money. So you can pretty much live anywhere with $1 million and be okay.
Right.
But yeah, so no, most of these people are coming from Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, and it's because the laws that are on the books are giving them other status. The laws are different for Mexicans.
Yeah.
So we actually have to hold families and the Guatemalans and Hondurans have to be treated differently than Mexicans. So that's why they're doing this whole deal. And the Mexicans are offering them jobs and places to stay along the way, and they're refusing them.
Which is
because they're getting paid.
Because a few years ago, there were news stories about how people talk about U.S. immigration, and it's so cruel. Dude, in Mexico, they were killing them on purpose after torturing them. They tortured Guatemalans and Hondurans to death as a deterrent. Tortured them to death.
So they want blood.
Exactly. They didn't want to be overtaken by Hispanic immigration.
Yeah.
Mexico did not want to be overtaken by Hispanic immigration, so as a result, they would detain and sometimes torture, sometimes to death, Guatemalans and Hondurans. Kind of like the situation but that's Mexico, and so it didn't become an international incident. Like in Israel, when we had Ferguson, Missouri, and stories like that where somebody committed a crime, and then they tried to shoot a cop, and then the cop shot them. Right? That's happened, and every time that happens, you have a bunch of people who take over a town, burn things, turning police cars over and crap like this. And nothing happens. We just have to deal with that. And America is so horrible. Meanwhile, in Israel, they had like hundreds of Palestinians died marching around in a circle. And the Israeli Defense Forces are just picking them off. Some of them were journalists. Some of them were children. But that's not an international incident. Why does America have such a special spot? Like... Oh, wait, excuse me. This is whataboutism again, isn't it? Well, what about it, though? Honestly, what about that?
I say it's time to do a little dirt. on our side, you know, and not apologize. I mean, what is this whole apologizing type of thing, you know? I mean, yeah. Let's do some war crimes, huh? Let's get it
War
on,
crimes.
baby.
Yeah, I don't know.
Screw the Geneva
My
Convention.
favorite
Screw
line
the,
from the movie Repo Man,
Mm.
or Repo Man, the movie from the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do some war crimes. It wasn't quite that, but yeah.
How about some thought
Let's go
crimes?
do some crimes, man.
Thought
Thought
crimes.
crimes.
Well, we're all guilty of that.
Do you have any
Generally.
thought crimes for today?
Thousands.
Me too.
I am a thought crime. I'm a walking thought crime. No, really. There's some stuff that just irks the hell out of me. That I mean, like this Brokaw thing. I mean, that just bothers me so much because if you read what he said, it just makes sense. He's just pointing out he's not saying anything that's just genius. He's pointing out the obvious and something that I think everyone, even anybody, I would think, immigrants or not, would probably agree. Yeah, I should probably speak English.
Yeah.
You know, they probably would agree
Very
with
hard
you.
to speak English.
The parents would probably agree. Hey, yeah, I should speak English. I mean, talk to them before they come over, but they would say, hey, you know, do you want to make an effort to speak the language? Yeah, I think I should. Especially if it's required for you to get a job, or I mean, I think that it's what he said made sense, and it's just insane the response that that's just racist.
Yeah.
And they're going after their own. You know, Tom Brokaw is one of their own, or you know, was, I guess. Now he's not. But yeah, apparently,
It's called a purity spiral.
if you saw his response, he came back and kind of like you could tell his first response was, I'm you know, I was just pointing this out. He wasn't really, and he's like, and it was one of those apologies. I'm sorry if I offended some of you.
Right,
It wasn't,
yeah.
and that should have been
Not,
enough.
I apologize for being offensive because it wasn't offensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that, you know, that had the conditional in it. And then you see him come back after that, and it was only a matter of like 6 hours or something. And he's saying, hey, my Twitter failed me, and apparently I guess he probably needed to reset his password and forgot it and didn't know, probably a re-verification or something, and it sounded like he couldn't get on Twitter.
Wow.
That's
interesting.
And so he had to come back and apologize for not getting on Twitter sooner, and then laid out his full apology, which is just ridiculous because, like, you know, if you don't do this in 6 hours, we're going to ruin your career, whatever you have left, or whatever memory of Tom Brokaw.
Or even if Twitter, you know.
I don't know. I mean,
I remember
somebody probably suggested to him that he change his password just because of the activity on his account. Or he, you know, I mean, it sounded like the guy's, maybe one of his computers died and he forgot the password. And you get a new computer and you forgot the password and you can't remember the email. Probably for him because of somebody that set it up 3 years ago, a personal assistant or something, probably set it up 3 years ago. And, you know, I mean, it's common not to, you know.
I don't know if
you're not using it that much.
but the Covington Catholic website was down for a while.
Oh man,
like I don't know if they took it down or if it was DDoS. My money would be on. I would put my money on DDoS, honestly.
Oh yeah.
If I was a gambling man, that's what I'd place my.
You know, the funny thing is, it in order to do that, I mean, if you're going to be doing it, 9 times out of 10 people pay to do that. And it's not, they pay Bitcoin to do it because, you know, to set up that number of servers, to effectively take down a site, you're going to have a bunch of different locations. I mean, tons of them, all doing it at once. And once those IP addresses and those locations are used up, then, you know, it's
I just get the feeling, though, that a Kentucky Catholic school probably didn't think ahead that maybe we'll become an international incident one day and need strong Cloudflare protection. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way I looked at it. Is this is a Catholic school from Kentucky. They never expected to be hit by millions of hits. You know? So yeah, I don't know. That whole story. Speaking of thought crime, I like that the term face crime, which is very often less used, but also from 1984. They were showing the quote from that where, because in 1984, if you had the wrong facial expression when good or bad news was announced, then the TV looks at you just like the new TVs do. You know how like now they've got cameras in them.
Yeah.
That's what blows my mind is I was reading this book in like the mid 90s, and the line about I remember when only the rich could afford telescreens, and then 5 years later, 10 years after I'd first read this book in 1995, only rich people had Blackberries.
What's that movie? What's that movie about the like Big Brother is watching you?
1984.
Well, yeah, 1984 Fahrenheit.
They're saying something. I can't remember the term that they're saying. Whenever they have to go in they're like being watched in every room.
Yeah, Big Brother is watching you.
Surveillance.
And they can't have a relationship to a woman.
Right, yeah, the anti-sex league was what they called it. Yeah.
It's during the World War II.
Well, it was written during World War II. It supposedly takes place in the year 1984, but the thing is, because Big Brother invented helicopters and hamburgers, kind of like Kim Jong-il, they said that he invented hamburgers in the year 1990,
Kim
whatever.
Jong-il?
Yeah, North Koreans believe this.
Koreans?
Because they told us that. That's what they told us.
And they don't have internet.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, with 1984 is basically like North Korea when Big Brother says, I invented helicopters and people believe it.
Well, so have you seen? It's down now. Drudge used to have a link to it. I mean, maybe it's back up somewhere.
About what?
If you go to Drudge, there's a link. I don't know. Every time I've gone there, and I tried maybe 6 months ago.
Chicago coldest ever. Oh my God! If you went out yesterday, I think it's super cold yesterday.
Oh yeah. I had the window open, letting
70% of the United States is freezing right now.
Oh my gosh.
Global warming.
Yeah, I don't see it. I think he took it down. But
isn't that Okasha made a comment about the global climate change?
Oh yeah, I know.
We didn't do anything about it, the world will end in 10 years.
Oh yeah, well, didn't we do that?
That's what they were saying in the 70s and then in the 80s and the 90s, and a lot of those predictions, by which I mean most of them, are nowhere near true. Like in some cases, there's the polar ice caps are thicker than they were then. Because
really?
That's crazy.
Yes, yeah.
But getting back to Drudge took it down. But for a while there, he had a link to the official North Korean website, news website.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if you ever saw that.
No, I didn't from there. No, but yeah.
Their entire news for the entire country for all of North Korea, and of course it's a government-owned deal.
Yeah,
is 5 stories. And
right.
It's all text, no pictures, maybe a couple of pictures, but it's all about Kim Jong-un.
And so North Koreans, right? So North Koreans can read the 5 news stories on the intranet.
You get 5
because
stories.
It's an intranet. It is a network that is, it doesn't leave the country.
They're allowed 5 stories a day, and all of them are just like, oh, our supreme leader is so wonderful. He's going to this birthday party.
Right? Yeah. Only the
like
important stuff. Exactly.
Yeah. But no international news. I saw some stories mentioning the evil Western regime of the United States.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, if you can imagine that, and that's like, the people, those are the upper echelon of people who have access to, to any sort of computer, any sort of device at all.
Hillary Clinton to run again.
Please.
She was thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she hasn't announced yet.
She hasn't announced.
Okay, yeah.
But But somebody who worked on her campaign.
That?
Now, this is a recent story. I don't know. I don't know if this is the same chick who wrote one like a couple months ago, saying that she might run again. But the last time was somebody who was either officially or unofficially involved in the. You remember how, according to WikiLeaks, it showed where she was in contact with all these journalists who had promised, I'm not going to write anything about you until we've run it by your staff first. That's kind of, what's the word? That's unethical, But anyways, yeah, so I think it would be great if Hillary ran again because it would be hilarious.
Absolutely hilarious. I think it's awesome Bernie's going. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, because
poor Bernie, they are already, tooth and nail against Bernie.
Oh, I know.
Like he's racist and he's sexist, and everyone who likes him is a guy who's racist and sexist too.
Yeah, but they're not.
Let's ignore all the women who, even women who are minorities.
I'll tell you
who
what,
support him. That doesn't count.
I went to a couple of Bernie things just for the fun of it in San Francisco because there were a lot of Bernie people there.
Bernie
and
Sanders,
I thought it was awesome. I mean, I thought they were,
I'll take a true progressive over your corporatist, hawkish, liberal. Well, the liberals these days are basically they're social issues conservatives. They're Republicans. They're cultural Marxist Republicans. That's all the Democrat Party is these days.
Well, with the Bernie supporters, I mean, what I thought, the one that I was really impressed with, and I heard it. It was a donor, a Hillary Clinton donor that lived next door to Roger Thiel, who Thiel leans a little right, and
he's a bit of a libertarian, but also gay. They always leave that out when it's someone they're knocking.
So
Why do you
anyway,
have to say that he's gay?
Thiel and a couple of other people, just for the hell of it, got together with the Bernie supporters because this was going on next door up in Pacific Heights, and so they had a couple thousand Bernie supporters go up and they picked up cash. Like dollar bills, like $20,000 in cash.
They're trying to bribe the
people? What happened is that they knew where the motorcade, because it's Pacific Heights, there's only a couple of ways to get in and out. They're going to have to drive by one or two ways, to get there. And so thousands of people had tens of thousands of dollars in $1 bills. And when Hillary's motorcade came by to go to this fundraiser in Pacific Heights, all the Bernie people just showered the motorcade just through cash.
What?
Thousands and thousands of dollars. It was unreal. It was awesome. It was
a
really powerful statement. It was
and then buy tons of makeups with the money.
Pinata.
It was a really cool statement that them just throwing cash at her. And on the street, and because she's on her way to go get a bunch more.
Right.
It's like, oh, here you go. That's all you care about. And
have you been to a campaign rally?
Oh God, tons of them.
God. How does it feel? I never been into one in the Philippines. Never.
I certainly wouldn't go to one here, but
don't go here.
No. We don't do that here.
I would want to see it.
I'm not
if I'm gonna visit America, I would want to see.
No, but I mean, you go to. I don't know.
Or like see people, I don't know, argue about their political beliefs and.
I want to go to a libertarian national convention. I bet the after party is killer.
I bet the whole thing is an after party.
Right, true. I mean, it's funny. I went to what was it? I entered libertarian in the YouTube search engine one day, and the first thing that came up was libertarian cringe was one of the first. And then I watched that for a minute, and there was one where the guy's running for trying to get on the libertarian primary or win the libertarian primary, and the guy, in lieu of giving a speech, he put on music and stripped. And it's this big fat guy with a beard. Like, even if you're gay, this is the last dude you want to see strip, But that's it was fun loving, At one point somebody had like a a heart attack or needed CPR, and is there a doctor in the house? And the guy comes up and helps, and is like, "See, look, libertarians helping people," because apparently the stereotype is libertarians are, if you're against taxation, then that means you're greedy and selfish. No, dude, these socialists who want to run the gulag are the ones who are selfish. Like, I don't trust anybody with billions of dollars who's like, you people need to share. You first, mofo.
Yeah, exactly.
You first.
Yeah.
How about you distribute some money to me and I'll distribute it down? We'll move it like that.
I don't know. If you start as being like a fiscal conservative, and then you can be whatever you want after that, right? I mean, in an order of importance. So, I mean, that's why I think Bernie's great. It's awesome. Now, it's La La Land. Okay, there is no. Did you hear that this the numbers came in? They finally calculated this out. I just read this morning. That the big thing is Medicare for everybody, healthcare for everybody in the United States of America. So socialized healthcare is what they're talking about, and so the proposals online of what they're talking about in order to get it done. Get this, for the period of 10 years. Okay, this is how much it's going to cost. Between 25 and 35 trillion dollars. Okay, now just back up here. $1 trillion. Now, we just, in fact, yesterday had to borrow $1 trillion to cover interest on the debt and a bunch of other stuff.
What idiot!
Yeah.
That's what you do, right?
I'm not an American.
Oh man, I'm late on my payments.
No, but
I've got too much debt. Here, I'll get a loan.
To give you an idea of how $1 trillion, the two largest companies in the world, Amazon and Apple, just surpassed $1 trillion in market cap. And so that gives you an idea of like how big it is. I mean, what $1 trillion is. I mean, even for the United States to get a hold of that money, and that's just one.
And
these guys want, how are you going to get $35 trillion?
This is their solution. They're just going to tax the rich and corporations so much that rich and corporations are going to move to Ireland and the Caribbean. And then you'll just have poor people.
You can't tax that.
Anybody with money is going to move and shelter their cash in another country. There's not enough tax
base. There's not enough tax base to tax anyone $35 trillion. Even 10.
Excuse me, I didn't mean Ireland. I was thinking... Because Bono, that's right. Bono doesn't pay taxes in Ireland.
Oh, that's good.
Because Ireland's tax rate is too high. He wants other people to be socialists and share their money. He's worth over $1 billion, or $500 million, or $750 million, around $1 billion is what he personally is worth. That's not counting his abusive charities that he uses as a tax fraud and to funnel money through.
That's some sick stuff.
I'm so tired of people like that telling me how to live.
But the logistics of it is like people are not grasping the idea. They're not understanding that the tax base isn't even high enough. If you taxed it 90%, you can't get $35 trillion. It's just not existent. You could tax everybody 100%, and you wouldn't get $35 trillion.
Wow.
So how are you going to do that if you tax everybody 100%? Yeah, they're definitely going to need some health care. Okay.
The only answer is conscription of medical professionals. We send them to a camp, give them medical training. They can't leave.
Yeah.
That's the solution, I guess.
Well, and nobody's going to be able to. If you've got 100% tax, then you have to live in government housing. So you're going to have to be completely, and then 100% food stamps, because I mean, if you're taxed that rate, first of all those businesses aren't going to be businesses anymore. I mean, so you're basically taking over the entire well-being and the food, water, shelter, healthcare of all your citizens is what they want to do.
What people don't realize
and
is
they think the government can do it better.
When people talk about right-wingers as fascists, no, that is fascism. When you take over all the media and the corporations and the idea of the bundle of sticks that symbolizes fascism, that's where you've got the people and the means of production and the media, and it's all bundled together in one. Yeah, that corporatism is fascism. And yeah, that's and sadly I see it coming from the right too, though. That's what crony capitalism leads towards fascism. And crony capitalism is the reason why libertarianism as an economic philosophy would absolutely fail, because Jeff Bezos exists.
Well, it was interesting. We didn't get a chance to. I mean, this happened in the meantime too. Just last week, since the last show, Venezuela. Okay, check that out. Now, the interesting part about
there's
that
another president that wants to take over.
Yeah,
there's another
actually,
guy.
we recognized him, and we were the first.
Guyana, what is it?
Yeah. And so we were the first. I think the first major nation to recognize him. And there was a period of about 15 minutes.
I love how we can just do that. Like, America goes, now Jerusalem is the capital. Now this guy's the president.
There was a period of about 15 minutes after the announcement was made that, oh, wow, this is just terrible, and the liberals are just going off, and Trump, how dare he, and then the Soviets are, hey, we're going to war, and we've got nuclear bombers over there right now, and so
there's martial law in Venezuela now, right?
Everything after 15 minutes. Yeah. After 15 minutes, everybody shut up right when Canada said, "Oh yeah, we recognize him too," and everybody just went quiet. It wasn't. You had to wait until Canada, because everybody loves Trudeau and he's cute. That that once Trudeau said it was okay, everybody shut up.
Adorable.
We like to see people kind.
No, but think about this.
No mankind.
Think about this. Nothing changed.
Trudeau.
Nothing changed. The situation didn't change. The decision was made by the United States, and since it was made by Donald Trump, people were flipped out, and then the minute Canada jumped on board, which was like literally the 16th minute.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody shut the hell up. Now tell me, that is how screwed up the media is, because if Canada hadn't jumped on, then oops, they would have done that. Everybody had to jump on this one. I mean, it's ridiculous what's going on there. But, of course, you don't hear anything from Ocasio-Cortez, who just loves that system of government.
Socialism, yeah.
Oh, my Lord.
I think if I'm living in the United States and it will turn to socialism, I am not going to send my kids to school.
No, you homeschool them. I mean, that's what you do, or send them to a charter school.
I don't know.
I have a feeling Ocasio-Cortez is going to be groomed. She will settle somewhere in between Liz Warren and HRC. And Liz Warren, by the way, is like Pelosi. She doesn't like the S word. Socialism. Oh. No, we're a capitalist. Wait until she gets out and runs for something next, and I guarantee you, somebody who's a bartender who's somebody who's a bartender who's a little bit loose and learns to read people and hear what they figure out what they want to hear.
My point is, somebody who's a bartender and is a little bit loose in her past life has definitely got some porn out there. Okay? And I bet you there's a bunch of people that probably want to see it. She's not unattractive. But, no, I'm serious. Think about it. Her lifestyle, she's a bartender.
New York City millennial bartender. Yeah.
How old is she? 30 years old?
No, she's like in
26.
her... Yeah.
Oh, she's still young.
Yeah,
she's the youngest serving member.
Congresswoman.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
So yeah, she's got some dirt out there. Definitely.
I love occasional Cortex though, because like I said, not since like Dan Quayle and George W. Bush have I laughed so much at a politician's stupid sayings. Like when she was talking about, well, when I'm inaugurated.
Yeah.
You won? I didn't even know you ran for president, and considering you're not 35, just. Oh, or what was it about the 3 branches of government?
Oh, my Lord.
Holy crap.
That's crazy.
Well, you got the 3 branches of government, the cabinet, the table, and the chairs.
You're right. It's nuts. Basic civics.
Oh,
but
man.
that's why if you look at a lot of the people that are getting attracted to that type of candidate, they're not thinking that
Yeah,
the
they
people aren't.
They don't care what they know.
They're not thinking that the people aren't even remotely qualified.
Her red lipstick is probably super attractive to some.
On my cock. Did I say that?
Yes,
you
you
did say
said
that
that.
absolutely out loud.
Oh well, no,
God.
this isn't.
Just filter it.
No,
YouTube will
it's
filter
fine.
it. Yeah.
It's
Oh,
fine.
man.
We're
Not fine.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm kidding. It's totally cool.
We're not on FM radio.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's just nuts. I mean, you're getting these people who don't even have basic civics course. You know, they haven't even bothered to go into a refresher course on civics before walking in and becoming a member of the House. Jesus, that's just nuts.
But no, seriously, like this is my thing about AOC. She was, you know, I really loved the fact that she had the balls to come on TV and say that, you know, speaking of the March of Return that I was talking about earlier, she called a spade a spade. She said it was a massacre. What else do you call over 2 months worth of indiscriminate killing of civilians? You know, in America, we would have called it genocide if more than 3 people died.
Right.
You know, so
Really?
But then she's
Genocide?
on TV, she's being interviewed, and she walked it back. She walked it back. You know, she's already learning to eat her words. So you know, yeah, I would be a lot more on fire about AOC if she was who she seemed to be several months ago when she was just kicking around the idea of running. Like you know, I prefer you to be over here. You know what I mean? Like most folks who are right here in the classic Republican, classic Democrat, I don't see any difference between you two except on these 5 hot button issues. The 5 hot button issues that never really change for the most part, apart from what's going on with abortion right now. And we don't have time to get into that. This, you know, right now, show's about to end, but holy heck. So now they're going to allow abortions in New York and somewhere else up until pretty much like the day of nearly.
You make them, we scrape them. No fetus can beat us.
No fetus
Terrible.
can beat us.
I saw a,
My uterus, my rule.
They're doing drive-throughs now, drive-through abortions.
Drive-through drugs.
Just reach out the, you know.
Have you been into drive-through drugs?
Drive-through drugs.
Hey, I need
There
some
used
fun.
to be one of those in McMinnville. I remember
I'm
hearing
just
about
kidding.
it in the newspaper
Oh,
when I was a
guy had a
kid.
trailer
And
with
you
it.
would you go by and you know there's some kind of code word or whatever, and you went by the window of guy's trailer or whatever,
Is the
and then
code
tell
word,
him what you want.
I want to be happy.
And it was an undercover cop who'd gotten a tip off, and they were just busted big as life.
Yeah, you know there was a big deal in Incline Village, Lake Tahoe, in Nevada, on the Nevada side there, North Lake Tahoe. It was I think it was a Burger King. And it was full on drugs, and it was a code word that was going through there, and they were doing it through the drive-through.
Cheeseburger.
And what's interesting though is that
Extra fries.
the DEA, like, they don't have an office in Reno, but they have one in Lake Tahoe. That'll tell you how. I mean, the Drug Enforcement Agency has an office in Incline Village, Nevada, in Lake Tahoe, and they don't have one in Reno.
Oh wow!
So that'll give you an idea of like because apparently massive. You know, you got a ton of people up there, and it's a lake that's got 2 state borders. Okay, so you can just get on a boat and go across. So state line isn't an issue at all. Normally it's not, but you do have the agriculture check going all the way if you drive from Nevada to California.
Yeah.
On 80. But yeah, up there, like lots of big high-end drug dealers have houses on the lake up there and just do business up there, and so the DEA set up shop up there.
Oh wow!
But yeah, drive-through drugs up there, crazy.
True.
No, I mean that's the lifestyle up there is a little bit different. Tons of money and people party a lot. So
Wow. Sounds tiring to me.
yeah, but
Oh.
well, anything that we've missed here? I mean, let's see. I mean, I don't know. I think Trump was right shutting down the.
Yeah, I
you
think
know,
they
it's the
will
right
so-
decision. 3 weeks. It's going to prove that they're not going to come back.
It's been
and
too long now.
everybody gets their money with back
Yeah.
pay. And
Mhm.
by the way, a lot of these people
They're
had
not getting
access to no interest loans this entire
Right,
time.
exactly.
So
yeah.
it really isn't that bad.
Yeah, they really need to negotiate about the, building the wall. And I'm seeing Ted Cruz proposing the El Chapo bill.
Mhm. Oh, I
that's
didn't hear
cool.
about that.
Yeah. No, he mentioned that a while ago. Seize all of El Chapo's
Oh, wow.
stuff and
Yeah.
use that to build the wall, which I think is good.
That's beautiful. I like that. Talk about poetic justice.
And there's like a congressman saying we should build a wall and tax all the people who watch porn. And build the wall.
What? No, don't go after the porn people. I mean, I say we do
You're
everything.
guilty about this.
How about hey, if you want a fast path to citizenship, you sign up for a program, you go to a camp, it's on the Mexico side of the border, and you sign up for a year, and you work for a year, building the wall, make the Mexicans build it, right? And if they give us a year...
Make the Mexicans great again.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's something, why not? There might be
How
areas
about they
where
build the wall
you're
and
employing
then
people.
they will give them some privilege to go in
That's what I'm saying. Like
a visa,
after
a year visa.
After a year.
Yeah, after a
they
year.
work for a year on the wall, or put in so many hours or whatnot.
Mexico, here I come.
Yeah. Then you can get fast track, and you keep your nose clean, and you're not selling drugs or your children or anything like that. Then
make your record clean.
Yeah, why not? I mean, do that with the landmines, and then pay people to go away. You could do everything, all of it.
But people are so notorious, though. They're trying to, dig under the ground.
That's where you put all
the landmines.
Scary stuff. Like
my thoughts.
chupacabra. That's
cobras.
Yeah, that's like exactly what you were talking about yesterday. The mythological Philippine capre.
Yeah.
Mexico has the chupacabra.
The chupacabra. El chupacabra.
El chupacabra.
Where's that place? Why am I super touchy?
I know. I'm like, quit pawing me.
Like,
Stop pawing.
I'm so touchy.
No, there's a Mexican restaurant called El Chupacabra.
Yeah, I can't remember. Where is it?
It's
I think
right
we already
over,
went.
kind of near Mega Mall.
Ah,
right over here.
yeah. El Chupacabra.
El Chupacabra. But that's a mythical, crazy, blood-sucking creature.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So that's the other thing we were talking
and
about.
It turned out that there was some little thing that
I remember
the blood
Facebook.
of goats and chickens and things. It was a little blue-looking, like bulldog-looking thing, though.
But I mean, I think you can use mythological creatures, and you can use a bunch of different things to scare people away. You can kill them.
Put
you can pay them to go to
cut of Hillary
you can
Clinton.
have them, use it all of it, everything. Yeah.
Boy.
I mean, why not? I mean, it's better than nothing, which is what's happening right now.
Oh, the truth about the North Pole. Yeah, I was like trying to read
is this
the
flat Earth stuff?
No.
No, this is at the week. I don't
the
think
climate change.
We haven't hit the flat Earth stuff for a little while. It's been a nice break though. We were hitting it way too hard there for a while.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Okay, well, so we're gonna have let's see, some of the memes. The memes are gonna be coming back. And then
I'm so ready for the memes.
We're going to be reworking the site a little bit, folks. Appreciate your patience there.
In 8chan all the time.
Some very good. We're going to be doing. We're going to aggregate some incredibly. Yes.
Well, I think my armpit is.
So we're going to aggregate. Oh. Yeah, the site's is going through a little revamping right now, folks.
Yeah,
so
that's how
you'll see some aggregate stuff there, a little more participation, some breaking news from interesting sources, and
interesting and reliable.
Yeah, we're gonna have our own fact checking done.
We're gonna report the reporter.
Yeah, we're reporting on the reporters. So, nonetheless, Story Behind the Story airs Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific. Make sure and check Phil and I out there. And Dr. True is going to be back, I'm assuming. I saw him emailing the other day.
Dr. True?
Dr. True, Dr. A. True Watt. And we'll pick up Redfoot over there. And
and you can check my vlogs too, you guys.
Oh,
Please
absolutely.
subscribe in my vlog.
Absolutely.
My vlog.
So, thanks, folks. Godspeed.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye.